All right, it is 9:30. We'll go ahead and get started with our pre-meeting to get ready for our 10 o'clock council meeting. We did have a couple of additions to the agenda. The first item that was added is the reorganization of council, which is electing our council president and council pro tem for the following year. Any questions there? All right, approval of minutes. Any questions? There were no changes. All right, approval of monthly bills. Approved September 2023 monthly bills. Any questions? Appeals, resolution 23-280, approved TO1, final suspension or revocation.
I have not received any word from them, but I did just hear that she's at the bank now and will be here at 10 with the cashier check.
Okay. Anything else? Did you want to?
Well, if she fulfills that, then we would suggest we do the same thing we did with the other entity and put them on conditional, continue that for 6 months.
Okay, and that would take just an amended.
Yeah, I've got that prepared and I'll open this up. I've got to take the word draft off of it.
Okay.
But I can do that pretty quickly.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, weed abatements. Any questions? There were no changes. All right, resolutions. Resolution 23-307, approved special use permit for T-Mobile to modify equipment at 1101 Prospect Drive Southeast, Mod 4. David?
Good morning, President, Council, Mayor. David Andrews with CMS. I apologize for not having someone present at the work session last week. This is a pretty insignificant modification by T-Mobile. They're wanting to add 3 remote radio units. That's the boxes that are mounted behind the antennas. They are already providing service from this site. If you will remember, this is one of the stadium lights at Decatur High School. This is going to be done to decrease latency in the site and increase speeds. CMS has reviewed the application and recommends approval.
All right, any questions? All right, resolution 23-308, approve MUB expenditure of $4,175,000 for wastewater treatment plant medium voltage electrical improvements. Any questions? All right, resolution 23-309, accept appointment of mental health officer of the city of Decatur.
No changes.
All right, any questions? Resolution 23-310, declare surplus of miscellaneous sporting good items from no longer needed at TC Allman.
No changes.
All right, any questions? Resolution 23-311, accept historic structures report for Delano Park from the Alabama Historic Commission.
No changes unless the council has questions.
Any questions? Resolution 23-312, approve the purchase of recycling carts from Toter LLC.
There's no change if I'm aware of.
Is that a Wanda question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, resolution 23-313, award bid number 23026 to U.S. Constructors LLC for building addition at Recycling Center.
Same thing. Presume no changes.
Okay. Resolution 23-314, Aldott uncollectible accounts receivable, Spring Avenue widening, Jesse to Cedar Lake.
No changes.
Okay, no changes. Any questions? Resolution 23-315, accept emergency lighting equipment donation from Decatur Electronic Communications for Decatur Fire and Rescue. No changes. Any questions? Resolution 23-316, authorize the mayor to execute a purchase agreement with Richard Winstead.
No changes.
Any questions? Resolution 23-317, authorize mayor to sign agreement with Slaughter and Associates for redistricting. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. So we've spent the last week since the work session looking at this. We've just been gathering information. We met with some software vendors last week to get some pricing. We've also been working with other city departments so we could firm up kind of the guidelines, the rules that we're supposed to follow on this redistricting. So right now, I actually have a meeting also at 2 o'clock today with another outside source that maybe can provide assistance. But I mean, at this point, I can't really give any definite answers. We're still waiting to get back information on pricing, on software pricing.
So you might recommend a table?
Yeah, I think that would be prudent at this point.
Okay.
At least give us another week so we can have a little bit more information.
Okay. All right, any questions? All right, resolution 23-275, approved department space realignment.
No changes.
Any questions? Resolution 23-318, approve NASHO traffic enforcement agreement.
That's just a continuing grant that we potentially receive, involves paying for some overtime for traffic enforcement. It's something we've been doing for years. It's done through the Franklin County Commission.
Okay, any questions? That was an addition, by the way.
Yes.
All right, ordinances, ordinance 23-4570, approve Crown Castle fiber agreement approval.
Yeah, this is the initial introduction. It involves small cell facilities. So this is just introducing it, but that's what they've asked for. It'll be in our right of way. Decatur Utilities will also enter into public access agreements as part of this.
Okay. Any questions there? All right, we will get started at 10. Thanks.
That was diabetes monitor?
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Dane Shaw will lead us in our invocation and pledge.
Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the wisdom. We thank you for our city, Father. We just give you the glory and ask that your peace would touch each of us as we make decisions that best represent you. We give you all the glory and praise in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dane. Roll call. Here.
McMasters.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Pike.
Here.
Pepper.
Here. All right, first, I'll talk about how we'll do public comment, similar to how we did it before. We did have someone sign in to talk about specific agenda items, so when we get to those agenda items, that person can speak. I think everyone else is here for general comments, and we'll do those at the end. I think it'll go pretty quick, so that's how we'll do public comment. All right, first item is reorganization of council, and just to kind of introduce this, the first meeting we had of this term, there was a vote to basically have a vote every year about the officers, council president, council pro tem, that we would vote on that every year, and that could change the first meeting of November, so we have voted typically the last meeting of October, so if there's a change, the next person could be prepared for their first meeting they would preside over. So that's why we do it for this meeting. So I will entertain any nominations for council president.
I'll make a motion for Jacob Ladner.
I'll second.
Continue serving as council president.
All right, we have a motion that I would remain council president by Mr. Pike.
I'll
and
second.
Second by Mr. Pepper. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
All right, that is approved with a vote of 4-1, and next we'll go to Council Pro Tem.
I'd like to make a nomination of Mr. McMasters to stay as the pro tem.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Pepper that Mr. McMasters would remain as Pro Tem.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Mr. McMasters will remain Council Pro Tem with a vote of 4-1. All right, moving to approval of minutes, we will take A, C, and D as a group.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper. Second. Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Abstain.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Those are approved 4-0 with one abstention, and then we'll take C.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Those minutes are approved 5-0. Next, we have approved monthly bills, approved September 2023 monthly bills.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike. Any
Yeah, I'd like to take check number 10779 out for $10,118.24.
All right, we will take 10779 out and vote on that next. So this is for everything except 10779. And we do have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Those checks, except for 10779, are approved 5-0, and then we'll take 10779.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
That check is approved 4-1. Appeals, Resolution 23-280, approved TO1, final suspension or revocation.
I received an email at 10:50 from Miss Loomis saying that she has the certified check and she's en route.
Can we move this to the end of the
Yeah.
agenda?
I got a message.
Is everybody okay with that? We'll come back to it at the end, and if Herman or Stephanie, if I move on, please stop me, that we come back to that, so. All right, moving to weed abatements, and we did have, go ahead, David, any changes or anything? No changes. Okay, and we did have one sign up for public comment regarding weed abatements, so Ms. Hoffmeyer, you can
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, council. This is possibly going to sound a little bit trite right now with what's going on in the city, but it actually does matter. The weed abatement issue is tied to code enforcement. And we have, in just about every meeting with amazing ease, we enforce these, the codes, and we remove these nuisances. We need to have a system in place, and we need to have culture change so that our existing codes in other aspects are actually enforced. And Hunter and I were just talking about this. These things are languishing, and this speaks to broken window theory. We have an issue in our city where we are allowing dilapidated structures, trash in our roadsides, in our alleyways, broken down cars to remain an eyesore. Just a plethora of code enforcements. And this idea that we're just throwing up our hands and saying there's not much we can do about it, the evidence is here. We can do something about it. So the thing is that while my comments pale in comparison to what we're going to hear from people later on, it's all connected. We need culture change in this city. We need to make sure that we have enough funding to enforce what we have in place. Now, our organization, we're a nonprofit. We work with corporations that are actually larger than the total population of Decatur, and they've been able to have culture change. We can change. We need to change. So Hunter has suggested that we get together and look at the codes and look at what can we actually do, what is possible within our existing processes. But if we don't do something about all of the broken windows or people's houses with siding that's been bullet ridden, then that sends a message that we don't care. And we've got to start sending a message that we do care. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Hoffmeyer. All right, we will take these one at a time. So A, Resolution 23-295.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion?
Yeah, as I've said before, I think it's hypocritical that we are, again, I've said in the past that I do think that everyone needs to mow their own grass, that we should not have to mow it for them, that if they don't do it, that we should charge them. But I think it's hypocritical for us to do this and our right-of-ways, and just like you just spoke about, our right-of-ways are overgrown, our streets are nasty, so I will not support these.
All right, thanks, Mr. Jackson. I do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-295 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-296.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-296 approved 4-1. Resolution 23-297.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMaster. Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-297 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-298.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-298 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-299.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-299 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-300.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
23-300 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-301.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-301 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-302.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23302 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23303.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23303 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23304.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23304 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23305.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23305 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23306.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23306 approved 4-1. Resolutions, Resolution 23307 approved special use permit for T-Mobile to modify equipment at 1101 Prospect Drive Southeast, Mod 4.
Good morning, President, Council, Mayor. David Andrews with CMS. This resolution is for an application that was made by T-Mobile to modify existing tower at Decatur High School Stadium. They're wanting to add 3 remote radio units. That's the boxes that are mounted behind the antennas. And this is to increase speeds and decrease latency at the site. CMS has reviewed the application and recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23307 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23308 approved MUB expenditure of $4,175,000 for wastewater treatment plant medium voltage electrical improvements.
Mr. Ladner, Council and Mayor, Tom Cleveland, Water Resources Manager with Decatur Utilities. This is a request to move forward with relocating 30-year-old electrical equipment at the wastewater treatment plant. This work must be done in order to make additional improvements planned later next year. We did receive 2 responsible bids on this project and recommend award to Maskins, Inc.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23308 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23309, accept appointment of mental health officer of the city of Decatur.
Council President, Mr. Mayor, Jeremy Hayes, Decatur Police Department. This proposal is to allow the mayor to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Morgan County Public Court to allow Ms. Catherine Anderson to serve as our mental health officer for the city of Decatur. We currently have only 1 mental health officer in the whole county that services 180,000 plus people. This will allow Ms. Anderson to service just the city of Decatur and the people of the city of Decatur.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23309 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23310, declare surplus of miscellaneous sporting good items no longer needed at TC Allman.
Morning, Jeremy Sherrill with Purchasing Department. In September, council approved resolution 23-024 for the demolition of TC Allman facility, and we're working closely with Parks and Rec to schedule removal of this list of items as needed.
All right, we did have one sign up for public comment, and she is ready to go. So, Ms. Hoffmeyer.
So the question that I have here is, what exactly is the process for selling surplus goods, miscellaneous sporting goods that are no longer needed? Aren't there some nonprofits that could use these items? So it seems to me that we ought to have sort of a phased process. If we are going to sell them, via auction or something like that, surely we're not going to get much value for it. And I would just think that there would be some nonprofits out there that are serving youth that could use these rather than just disposing of them for pennies on the dollar. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Hoffmeyer. Jeremy or Kyle, do you want to address the process?
Yeah, I could say that we would seek approval when that is an option, something that we have sought in the past. Sometimes it's not the best option or even an option at all, but it's something that we have looked into before and done before.
Okay. All right, thanks, Jeremy.
Just for the record, Jeremy, we have given away police cars. I think we even gave a fire truck away once before, so it is possible. So I just would ask that you look into it and see if you can find someone who can use those things.
Sure.
I think we,
Would we need to table this matter?
Yeah,
We would need to
that's what I'm
table
saying. We've done that before,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Well, those are to other governmental entities.
one was a volunteer fire
Right,
department.
that's still
Yeah,
a governmental entity. So y'all would have to find a public purpose once we do that. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
What you do.
All right, I don't have any motion or second, but you had a comment.
Do we need to table it so they can look into it?
You can certainly make a motion to do
But-
that if you would like.
I think that we could still proceed with this and just, I mean, he can work with it from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just declaring the surplus
That's
So moved.
for the agenda item as
Yes.
written. Okay. Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion?
I'll simply say that I did not support the resolution that you talked about, the demolition of TC Allman. I think that we got a perfectly functional building there that we actually wrote off when we actually used it as an asset when we went to the bond market, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
It's fully depreciated, so.
It's zero on the balance sheet.
Well, but still, there's great value to it, though, correct?
There's value from a use standpoint, but from a balance sheet standpoint, the net's zero.
Okay, all right, well, I stand corrected. But you're exactly right, there's great value from a use standpoint, so I didn't support that, so I won't support this today. I think that TC Allman still serves a very important function in our city, and so to give away the equipment, whether we're declaring a surplus or not, I cannot support that.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call?
Black.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-310 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-311, accept historic structure report for Delano Park from the Alabama Historic Commission.
Yes, Alan Stover, Community Development Manager with the City of Decatur. This is a grant that we received to do a historic structures report at Delano Park. So we're just asking your approval to accept this grant.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. McMasters, and Ms. Hoffmeyer had wanted to speak on this item as well.
Yes, I'd like to just point out that our focus from a historical standpoint stays in the same places, but, you know, we have other historical areas. Austinville really deserves some attention here. And this goes back to part of what I was talking about with broken window theory. So broken window theory, as most of you know, some others might not know, it posits that when small things are not taken care of, it sends a signal that we don't care overall. Okay, so just one broken window is more than just a broken window. So I'd like to point out that in Austinville, we have the Austinville Cemetery, just as one example. It's really sad. You walk in there, we walk our neighborhood, and the tombstones are toppled over, and they're just kind of stacked up and everything, and Parks and Rec actually manages it. That's a historical asset of the cities that we are completely neglecting. So while I understand that we've got a $21,000 grant that we're matching with $14,000 for this Delano Park historical structure report, it seems like we're neglecting the other areas of the city. So I understand that you're probably going to vote for this grant and the matching funds, but the reality is we've got to get some equity in Decatur about how we spread around our focus of what are our other historical assets. Thank you.
Ms. Hoffmeyer. Do you have a motion and a second? Is there any other discussion?
Hey, I would just say, Ms. Hoffmeyer, probably talk with Caroline Swope. She's worked on some projects in the Austinville area, so it'd probably be good if you could just have a conversation and get some feedback with her.
Super, thank you, Kyle.
Yep.
Yeah, the Historic Commission is working on the Austinville area, so, I mean, it's not that we're not, I mean,
Working
we
on
have
projects all
restructured.
over the city. That's
Yes.
District,
Yes.
that's District 3 that I can think of. I can't think of anything right now that would be in District 3.
But, you know, the council restructured the way that the Historic Commission is operating, and we have representatives from throughout the city
Well,
that
and I
are
think-
on this historic preservation.
Yeah, I think to her point, I think the restructure is better because then you do get to look at the whole city.
Yeah.
You take out all the, COAs that are done for the historic overlays, so.
Yeah, the Architectural Review Board only looks at those areas that is already in that has
The overlay.
overlays. The Historic Preservation Commission looks at the whole city, so, and looks at all of the grave sites, and so absolutely, we are trying to do a better job of looking citywide.
And we have, there's 2 other cemeteries we put some significant funding towards that are not at Delano or in downtown, to try to revitalize. So I think that's something we can definitely look into. All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-311 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23-312, approve the purchase of recycling carts from Toter LLC.
Good morning, landfill and recycling. My name is Wanda Tyler, and the next 2 agenda items are related to the grant that we received from ADEM earlier this year. This one has to do with, we're going to upgrade to 96-gallon carts, so this is the first phase. So we're requesting your approval to buy those from Toter.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-312 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23-313, award bid number 23026 to U.S. Constructors LLC for building addition at Recycling Center.
So we went out for bid, this is also a part of the ADEM grant for the MRF expansion. We got 2 bids. The best and lowest was with U.S. Constructors LLC. This particular project will expand our tipping floor and also storage area. We have to store a lot of our, we turn trash into commodities. We have to store that outside, so this will give us also an opportunity to protect from the weather and those things like that. So we're requesting that you approve the bid from U.S. Constructors LLC.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pepper, and Ms. Hoffmeyer had a comment.
So, there's actually a process in Alabama for when there's non-responsive bidders. So there was 14 packets that were sent out. We only got 2 in. Did we reach out to those that did not respond? And I understand that you can't force somebody to respond. But when you only have 2 and the delta between the 2 is about $200,000. So it seems to me that we would maybe want to push the pause button. This is a pretty big expenditure. It's about $500,000. Why not reach out to the 12 others that were non-responsive and ask them? There's actually some provisions within the Alabama code where it says that if there is non-responsiveness, then maybe you need to look at the nature of your bid. Was it too restrictive? I mean, what was it about it that we only had 2 out of 14 that responded? So I just think that maybe we ought to push the pause button. I'll also say that we continue to have lower dump rates than surrounding facilities. And we also do not have a tiered dump rate for those who are outside of our county who are dumping and enjoying our low rates. So I would just suggest that you push the pause button, try to get a few more bids in. This is not a small expenditure. Thank you.
Ms. Hoffmeyer, any discussion?
Yeah, I would say to that, I'm in construction. We actually saw this package. I think if you look at the bidder list, a lot of those companies do not actually do this type of construction. And then companies also have to look at it as far as, is this the type of project they want to go after? Maybe too small for some, maybe too big for others. And so companies are real selective in what they're going after. Right now, there's been a lot of construction going on, so if there is a backlog of anything, but we do industrial, we don't do, this is a little more commercial than what we do, and I think you'd have some that would say the same. So I know, like, we inform people if we're gonna no bid a project, and we typically give a reason why. I don't know how many may have done that, but I would think that's probably standard operating procedure for most construction firms.
I appreciate that, Kyle, absolutely. I mean, I'm just saying that two out of 14, it
Right.
raises questions with
Yeah.
citizens.
Yeah.
At least this citizen.
There was a pre-bidders meeting, in which I think was a part of the package.
It was
We had
required.
them also to come out to the facility to see if this was their, if this fit, like you said, if it was industrial, commercial, if this fit what they could do, so, yeah, we only got 2 bids.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-313 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23-314, ALDOT uncollectible accounts receivable, Spring Avenue widening Jesse to Cedar Lake.
Kyle Demeester, Finance. This is one of the ALDOT overrun bills we get 10 years after the project is complete. This is related to the preliminary engineering phase. We were under the impression that the MPO was going to cover this cost. Turned out after talking to the state and using all resources that they were not going to cover the cost. And so this is the reason we're coming to write that receivable off, as we will not be collecting on that revenue.
What's the cost?
$42,304.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike. Ms. Hoffmeyer?
Do you want me, can I just speak from here?
No, there's a lot of people watching that can't hear.
All right.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right. How does this happen? I mean, how are we stuck with $42,000? And it's not just this one issue. The thing is that with this ALDOT uncollectible accounts receivable for the widening, what are systems in place so that this doesn't happen? Because it's $42,000 now. I mean, what is the risk that we're exposed to financially as a city? I mean, I'll tell you that we've got a great big huge looming financial risk, the big elephant in the room, a huge liability that the city is probably gonna face. But just like broken window syndrome, theory, not syndrome, it's not a condition. This is a broken window. So we need to have fiscal responsibility for the little things, like $42,000 to me is still a lot of money. We're looking at a lot of probably millions of dollars of liability that some people are gonna be talking about. But we've gotta start also, we've gotta pay attention to the little things. How does this happen? How do we end up with being stuck with $42,000 because ALDOT punts on it? And are we just gonna say it's okay? It's not okay.
I mean, this isn't one of this. You guys have approved other overruns like this throughout the years. I will say, while yes, it does today seem like a lot, we did receive a huge amount of funding from ALDOT to widen Spring Avenue, which I think far exceeds this small overrun we have.
Is there an opportunity for recovery in this case?
I mean, we've explored it with the MPO. It was through the MPO. We got the impression, I mean, we passed the resolution 22-269 with the assumption that the MPO was going to cover it. It just happened, Dwayne maybe could comment more on it, why this happened in that sense, but he informed us and ALDOT informed us that they were not gonna send that reimbursement amount.
Do you remember the total cost of that project?
Spring?
Yeah.
I don't wanna say.
It's a big number.
It's a big number.
Okay.
And it's expanded over long, 10
20
plus
years.
20 years, yeah.
Okay, I do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? And I think too, correct me if I'm wrong, when we do a state funded or state partially funded, some city match project, you are a little bit at the mercy of.
So in the agreement, we run off estimates when we come to council for these projects, so that's where overruns occur. In the agreement, it really kind of lays out that this could potentially happen.
Yeah.
There are instances where we have overruns and they do pick it up.
So if you want state money.
Correct. You gotta play by the rules.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-314, approved 5-0. Resolution 23-315, accept emergency lighting equipment donation from Decatur Electronics Communications for Decatur Fire and Rescue. Chief.
Good morning, Mayor, Council. Nathan Springer, Decatur Fire Rescue. This resolution is to accept a donation from Decatur Electronics Communications on the installation of some lighting equipment for 2 of our staff vehicles.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper. Second. Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-315 is approved 5-0. Resolution 23-316, authorize the mayor to execute a purchase agreement with Richard Winstead.
Good morning, Council. Dane Shaw, Director of Development. This is to approve the agreement for 100 units to be built on the property. It's a $20 million investment. They have 18 months after the agreement is executed to pull permits. It does fulfill the One Decatur plan to bring development downtown, and it's something that's much needed in the city.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion?
Just
Roll.
a note that thankful to have the developers with us today. Appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate your investment in Decatur, the amount of time that you've taken to do your research, and look forward to seeing some dirt moving out there. All right, let's make something happen. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson. Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-316 is approved 4-0 with 1 abstention. Resolution 23-317, authorize mayor to sign agreement with Slaughter and Associates for redistricting. I have a motion by Mr. McMasters and a second by Mr. Pike to table this item. There was some discussion in the pre-meeting regarding maybe looking for some other options. We're gonna go ahead and vote on the or do you want to speak before we vote on the table?
Speak, yeah.
Okay.
There's some common things.
If you can just come, sorry. Yeah.
Rob Wilson, Decatur. I think we're gonna end up where we had hoped. In general, this speaks to some other stuff. Yeah, we need to look at doing redistricting, especially in light of what's just going on down in Montgomery, and we got about, 47 other states kind of laughing at us. Let's get this right. I think we need to do it locally, which it was interesting that once again, we do have assets and opportunities to do something locally, and let's take advantage of that, even if we need to get creative about doing it. And yeah, there's money involved. It's the 15 to 18 for the consultancy, plus another potential 15 for expenses. So you're looking at, over $30,000 for the deal. The main thing is Decatur has an opportunity again with this redistricting to get ahead of the curve, to do something right. So let's take every opportunity that we can to make sure that that happens. So if nothing else, I think right now would be a good time to take a pause and take a hard look at it. Councilman Jackson's already talked about the fact that years ago this kind of thing was done, and there are creative ways to get it done. And I think we need to take advantage of that. Thank you.
We have a motion on the floor for a table and a second. Any other discussion?
I'll simply say that I think that in the article, it was said that we're looking at these people for their expertise. There aren't any real expertise. There are numbers, there is a little geography that you're dealing with, but there are no expertise. It's playing with the maps. If you move the cursor one block up, it's going to give all the demographics based on that. It's going to give the numbers that are associated with it, and I think Rodney was at a thing with me this past weekend when we talked about that. It's going to give you all the information that you need to know the demographics as far as sex, race, any other demographic that you need, and it's going to give the numbers that are associated with it. So it's not rocket science. It's very simple, and I think that we can accomplish it here in-house.
That's the software you were
That's
talking
the
about?
software, the ESRI software that I was talking about.
All right, motion,
You had something to say?
sorry. Yep.
Yes, that's one reason I think we're asking for this to be tabled, because really right now, I can't give you a true cost of the software. That's something we're working on and looking at some other options. So I think if you could table it, would really help us to kind of pull together some more information.
All right, thanks, Chris. Motion on the floor to table and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Hyde.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-317 is tabled. Resolution 23-275, approved department space realignment.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper. Second. Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just looked back in my, my information packet. And when we were given this packet a couple of weeks ago, the amount that was associated was $100,000. Last week when we came in for the work session, we had an amount of $80,000. And I do think that somebody's just spitballing with numbers, because in those numbers, there was nothing that talked about, for instance, the police department is moving to the second floor. There's gonna have to be a construction associated with that. And there's nothing that really covers that specifically. And I think that in itself might cover the $80,000 of construction that's gonna have to take place on the second floor. We have a finance department that's moving to the old train depot. And if we look at that, we are looking at the fact that we're expecting them, based on these numbers, to just be able to go in and softwares, I mean, the IT and everything's hooked up for them to just walk in and do that. So I don't think that this is a real number. I think that, as I said before, other mayors have looked at this, other councils have looked at this, and it was cost prohibitive before. And so I do think that if we open up this can of worms, it's going to be much more expensive than we're saying here. Also, a few weeks ago when we talked about it, we talked about that this is about $60,000 a year. And as Andrea said, $60,000 is a lot of money. But in the grand scheme of things, based on what I think we're going to spend here, $60,000 per year is nominal. And I do think too that we have another building that's at the other end of the block, which is a municipal court annex. And the analogy that was given was that only so much water will go into a cup. Basically inferencing that the City Hall will only hold so much, that the buildings that we have will only hold so many people. But when we start looking back at the numbers that are associated with it, the numbers that I've gotten were that we have one more person in municipal court in the process than we had when we moved out of City Hall. So effectively, those people could move back into City Hall, and we could save that $48,000 if we're actually looking at just the numbers. But when I pull the information, of course, the building on the other end of the block is owned by HCS Coleman LLC, which is, it goes back to the law firm over here with Barney Lovelace and David Langston, Jeffrey S. Brown, and several others. So I don't know that moving one out of one building is as much about the money as it is. Because if that were the case, we'd try to move out of both buildings. So again, I will not support this today, and I think that we are going to waste a lot of money by doing this. Another thing that I almost forgot, we talked about the possibility of using the old jail. And the mayor said that we had someone looking at that possibility. But my understanding was that it was an interior decorator that looked at that. Is that not accurate?
No, so we have had an interior designer to look at that, but we've also had a couple of contractors to look at the jail as well.
But I don't have any numbers in front of me that show that that's cost prohibitive, so.
No, sir, I haven't come to the council and asked for approvals to get the costing that would be required to do the assessments by a contractor.
Well, you have not?
Have not.
Okay, but we did have a contractor look at it,
Just pro bono, yes, sir.
Okay, still, we should have gotten those numbers so that we could compare and see what the cost analysis would have been. So I do think that we are going to overspend here. I think that $80,000 is an unreal number. I think that we are basically going to spend considerably more than this $80,000. So again, I won't support this today.
All right, thanks, Mr. Jackson. Any other discussion? I would just say we do, and I agree with get out of both leases. I mean, I'm for that too. And if there's a way to do that, we should look at it. But this lease, from what I understand, Herman, is up in 2025, which to
December 31st, 2025.
end of 2025, which to get out of that means we will have to have preparations in place to move out of it in that time frame, to not have it auto-renew. So you can't just get to the last day of the lease and then decide to move, or you're gonna have to decide if you're gonna stay in it or not. So there is gonna have to be preparation made. The cost associated, I agree with you. I don't know that the numbers we're looking at they are very round. I said the same thing, but they're one-time expenses. A lease that would be locked into is a continuing lease for probably, is the current one 5 years, which is probably what the owner of the building will want again, or they'll try to find someone new. There would be opportunity to find someone to replace that cost. So the long-term, the 5-year commitment on the new lease actually greatly exceeds what the cost would be in a one-time construction to do that. So I understand your points. I don't disagree really with any of them, except that I don't think it's necessarily cost prohibitive in the long term.
Well, but I'll say this. You said that we've got until December 31st of 2025, and that's actually true. We still have a couple of years basically to, or a little over a year and a half to look at that. So I think that we have time. We don't have to rush into this. And what Herman said the other day was that even if we make these changes and we have the opportunity to sublease this, that the owner of the building has the opportunity to reject the person that we're going to sublease it to. Now, with that being the case, we'll have this expense and that continued expense at least until December of 2025, if that happens. So again, we have time to look at this. We have time to look at other options. We've had one option presented to us, and again, as I've said, other mayors and other councils have looked at this. So I don't know what makes this mayor and this council different than others where this was cost prohibitive. So.
Yeah. And I can't speak to why those other people made the decisions they did. I'm just looking at what I've got in front of me.
Okay.
So. All right, any other discussion? All right, do you have a motion and a second? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-275 is approved 4-1. Resolution 23-318 approved NASHO. Herman?
Yeah.
All right. NASHO Traffic Enforcement Agreement.
State Highway. This is a grant that we've been getting for several years. It's the Franklin County Commissions who actually administers it. Comes from the state government, but what it does is allows us to be reimbursed for overtime as far as traffic enforcement. The exact amount will have to be determined later. The grant terms will have to, the term of the grant, in other words, the period it's involved, will be determined. But in order for us to get any funds, we have to approve this arrangement. It's the same arrangement we've had for, I don't know how many years, Chief, I'd say 4 or 5.
I've been signing the agreement monthly for about 4 or 5 years.
Yes. Yeah. All right, that's what it is. It's just a reimbursement of some overtime.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMasters, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Resolution 23-318 is approved 5-0. Next, we have ordinances. Ordinance 23-4570, approved Crown Castle Fiber Agreement approval.
Yes, sir. This is introduction of that ordinance.
Is this a first reading?
Yes, but if
Okay.
y'all wish to double vote it, that's certainly, you're entitled to do that. This is something been going on, negotiations back and forth for months. But once again, what it is what's called small cell facilities, which are smaller units. They would go on utility poles or underground, some of the wiring. But this allows them to do that across our city. It's a new, well, it's not that new, but it's new to Decatur. And Mr. Forrester's here from Crown Castle. He can maybe shed. He's come a little bit of a distance, so if you don't mind, let's let him share their perspective.
Yeah, good morning, Mayor, Council, residents of the City of Decatur. So Crown Castle is a shared infrastructure provider. You know, like it was mentioned earlier about the upgrade of towers, right, that the gentleman spoke earlier. What we provide is basically there's pockets of a carrier's network that either capacity or coverage is a need. And you can't place towers everywhere, right? So this offloads the tower. We've been in the state of Alabama since 2015 building fiber and small cells, and we work with all major carriers. So whenever we present to help and support in a jurisdiction or a city, there has been a need, like I said, capacity, coverage, sometimes both. So we're excited about supporting the city and helping improve the coverage and capacity here in Decatur.
All right, thank you. Any questions? This is a first reading. If someone would like to make a motion for immediate consideration, you can do that.
I'll make a motion for immediate consideration.
All right, we have a motion for immediate consideration for Mr. Pepper. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Pike.
Wait a second. Then what about public?
Wait.
Let it go.
Wait.
Just let it go. It'll be okay. It's not gonna
There will be discussion. It has to be unanimous, and that's probably where he's
go.
going.
It's not gonna go.
All right, any discussion on immediate consideration? All right, roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
All right, immediate consideration fails 4-1, so that will be on an agenda in 2 weeks. All right, we did have an item to come back to.
That'll be 3 weeks.
Sorry, 3 weeks, that's right, no meeting next week. Sorry about that. All right, we will come back to our appeal, which was Resolution 23-280, approved TL1 final suspension or revocation.
TL1 did show up with a full amount of tax due and a cashier's check.
So if we can substitute, what this does is the same as we did with the previous one. It just continues the conditional, they continue to operate.
This is an amended resolution.
Well, we could just substitute the same number as the other one. The only difference is, just, fine. It just continues it on. You take it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion for
they
the
operate,
substituted
continue to
resolution,
operate.
I'll second.
23-280.
All right, this is a motion for our substituted Resolution 23-280, which is a conditional suspension or revocation
Second.
based on the payment that came in.
I'm sorry.
Motion by Mr. Pepper.
I'm sorry.
Is there a second?
I was motion, but
Sorry.
it don't matter.
No, I was letting him go. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Motion by Mr. Pike, second by Mr. Pepper.
Herman, would you explain, or Lori, Herman, explain completely what this actual new resolution does for the public, so that everyone knows exactly what we're doing?
Yeah, a few weeks ago, y'all voted to conditionally suspend or revoke, subject to a hearing, which it was tabled from the previous meeting of October the 2nd to today, so they would have an opportunity to pay. What this does is just continue that conditional revocation or suspension. What it means is that if they do not follow the law, then we can come back and say to you and let you
For
review
6
it.
months, right, 6 months.
6 months, it allows 6 months. That way we see what the history is, as far as the payment, but it allows them to continue to operate if they continue to comply with the law. That's what it does.
So just to be clear, this resolution that you substituted to adopt, we're adopting that in the affirmative.
Yes.
Whereas the previous in affirmative would have been the
Well,
revocation.
the previous one that was before you until today was to make that suspension or revocation final, which means they could not operate.
So the new one, though, a yes vote is they can continue, but it's
Right, and they
conditional.
continue to operate, and we continue to monitor their compliance with the law.
All right, we do.
Yeah, it just kind of keeps us from having to go back through the whole process if they start to not continue to remit the tax.
But it will come back to y'all.
Yeah.
Thanks, Herman.
We do have a motion and a second. I will say I'm gonna vote no. I did the same on the other one, and the reason is they have fulfilled the tax that was due, which I would support them being able to reopen without conditions, and we go through the process, but I understand why we put this in place. So, that's what I did on the last one. I'll do it on this one too.
And I actually happen to agree with that, so.
Okay.
I did not.
All right, so again, an affirmative means we're adopting the conditional suspension or revocation. All right, any other discussion? Roll call?
Ladner.
Aye. I'm
McMaster.
sorry. No. I'm sorry. No.
Aye.
McMaster's. Jackson.
No.
Aye.
Pepper.
No.
All right, that fails 3-2, so can we take up the original?
Well, what you have is, you're treating the same similarly situated businesses.
I voted the same
I
on both.
understand. Well, let me share with you what we have. That's certainly fine. But you haven't, so I guess what I'm asking.
Yeah.
What I'm asking is, do you want us to go back to this, and I'm not trying,
No, it was approved.
I understand, but they had less egregious non-compliance
And you're
in
right.
this group.
I mean, you're right, Herman. He's right. I think we do need a resolution so that we can readdress that. I don't have a
We'll
problem
bring
with
that, if that's okay,
You're
we'll bring it
absolutely
back
right
to
with
you.
that.
Because this group continued to pay.
We're treating them
This last group
And you're
did
right.
not.
I give you credit.
So I'm fine. What this means is they continue to operate, and there is no conditional suspension. They just operate, period.
Until this happens again.
And then you
Or
go
if
through,
it- if it
then we
happens,
go
it
back
won't.
through the process of taking about 4 to 5 weeks for the process to go through. But I mean, that's y'all's business.
Has it been 2 months since the previous one? Was that about 2 months ago?
It was less than 2 months.
Oh, okay, so but since then, have there been any issues?
No.
Okay, well, good.
So if I'm understanding, y'all want me to, I'm sorry, not me, but for us the staff to bring back a reconsideration of the previous one or not?
I think that's what I heard, but I just do want to be clear. I was the only one that voted against the last one.
And he's right, but your position was correct, and I agree with your position now, but I would like to see, if we're going to treat everyone the same, I would like to see a resolution that comes back so that we can address that one the same way.
I think that's the right thing to do.
But we do need to address this original.
No, y'all, okay, you've already, you
No,
voted
we
not.
voted it down, so now they
you
can operate.
address yes, you go back now and address.
Yeah, we need to vote on this. That's
Yeah,
on the
make it
agenda.
final.
Okay. All right, so we'll take up the original 23-280, which is approved TO1, final suspension or revocation, which is the opposite. We would be, to let them reopen would be a no vote.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All right, we need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMasters.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call?
Ladner.
No.
McMaster.
No.
Jackson.
No.
Pike.
No.
Pepper.
No.
All right, resolution 23-280, the final suspension or revocation is not approved with a vote of 5-0. And that is everything we had on the agenda. We will move into public comment. I think a lot of you were here the last couple of weeks, just to kind of set how we do this. I'll call your name in order if you signed in to speak. We do 3 minutes, and it looks like everyone has signed in with their address and name, but if you can just give your name when you come to the podium here. We want to have a fruitful, good discussion, so let's keep it that way. If it gets out of hand, we will either have to go to a recess or just adjourn the meeting, and we want everybody to have a chance to speak, so we don't want to just adjourn the meeting. So appreciate how everybody was last week. I thought everything went well, so let's try that again. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'd like to just, if those that came from different departments that are here have finished their business that needed to take place during the meeting, you're free to leave, unless you have something that your department will be involved in this public meeting. And the same with anyone that came to do business before the city. Thank you.
All right, we'll start with Anthony Burgess, who's first on my list.
How y'all doing? I was it was very interesting about the broken window theory that you used. I thought it was very attractive to me, in the sense that a broken window can always be fixed. If I was to throw a rock through it, it could be repaired. Steve had 7 bullets really shot through his body. Can't now hole in Steve's body be repaired like the window. And I understand that the city business is important, but while I was sitting in the back, I felt so disrespected, hearing the need to fix the window, cut the grass, build a better building. And Steve's life is like it's nothing. So during the protest is now inside of a racial climate. During the protest, it was a white guy walked in the middle of us with a gun on his side, trying to provoke us to do something to him. So really the picture of us can be confirmed. We animals, we dogs, we are nothing. We held our peace, but the thing that I'm saying is this, and this is to you, Mel. I personally feel that you have allowed a racial climate to come into existence from being silent on this matter. That's right. That's right. We need to hear you. We need to hear you, because either you gonna feed the motivation or you gonna starve the pain. We starving. And white guys, and the reason why I'm saying white guys, because it was a white guy that walked in the middle of us with a gun, and we got our babies out here. We got our babies out here. So we done let Steve dead. So the environment that we are in now, our babies are in danger. And my thing is this: what would be done? What would be done? What if we would have responded of our pain and did something to him? He had 3 more guys on the side of him with pistols. 1 more guy had a video. The whole thing was playing the stand your ground law. He wanted us to respond so he can kill us. And our babies are hand in hand with us, and we know that a bullet have no name. Steve had 7 of them in his body. And something needs to happen, because we can't let these babies get hurt. we would not stand by and watch these bandits kill our babies.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Mr. Shepherd, you next.
My name's Justin Shepherd. I'm a retired Army sergeant. Some of you may know me, some of you may not, but a lot of you guys I consider now my family. I'd like to talk about leadership today because some people may not know what leadership truly is. I'm going to read part of the charge of the non-commissioned officer and the non-commissioned officer's creed for the U.S. Army. I understand that soldiers of lesser rank are required to obey my lawful orders. Accordingly, I accept responsibility for their actions. As a non-commissioned officer, I accept the charge to observe, follow the orders and directions given by my supervisors, acting accordingly to the laws and articles and rules governing the discipline of the Army. I will correct conditions detrimental to the readiness thereof. In doing so, I will fulfill my greatest obligation as a leader, and thereby
It's okay. You got it.
I will fulfill my greatest obligation as a leader, and thereby confirm my status as a non-commissioned officer. Excuse me. This is the creed of the non-commissioned officer. No one is more professional than I. I am a non-commissioned officer, a leader of soldiers. As a non-commissioned officer, I realize that I am a member of a time-honored corps, which is known as the backbone of the Army. I am proud of the Corps of non-commissioned officers and will, at all times, conduct myself to bring credit upon the Corps, military service, and my country, regardless of the situation in which I find myself. I will not use my grade or position to attain pleasure, profit, or personal safety. Competence is my watchword. My two basic responsibilities will always be uppermost in my mind: accomplishment of my mission and the welfare of my soldiers. I will strive to remain tactically and technically proficient. I am aware of my role as a non-commissioned officer. I will fulfill my responsibilities inherent in that role. All soldiers are entitled to outstanding leadership. I will provide that leadership. I know my soldiers, and I will always place their needs above my own. I will communicate consistently with my soldiers and never leave them uninformed. I will be fair and impartial when recommending both rewards and punishment. Officers of my unit will have maximum time to accomplish their duties. They will not have to accomplish mine. I will earn the respect and confidence as well as that of my soldiers. I will be loyal to those with whom I serve, seniors, peers, and subordinates alike. I will exercise initiative when taking appropriate action in the absence of orders. I will not compromise my integrity or my moral courage. I will not forget, nor will I allow my comrades to forget that we are professionals, non-commissioned officers, leaders. I want the city to know that these people up here They answer to us, not the other way around. When in charge, be in charge. Don't take disrespectful tones to victims of a crime. I have a lot more to say and a lot more on my heart. I have a lot more to say and a lot more on my heart, but I will close by saying a quote by someone you all may know. Take this quote as you will. His quote said a lot without saying much. In the words of Hunter Pepper, I will withhold my remarks till the end.
Mr. Shepherd. Edward Franklin.
Let me say good morning to all of you, to the council. I would like to just ask a question to the mayor and also to the council. Could you give us a brief description of your job, Mayor?
Yes, sir. What's your address, sir?
It's here.
I live here in Decatur.
That's fine. I just ask. Sometimes the person will end up
For
staying
75 years.
Thank you. Appreciate it. My job is to manage the day-to-day operations of the city. That's one of my job duties. The other is to represent the city when it comes to negotiations on business deals, things of that nature.
Okay. President of council.
Yes, sir. His job or mine?
Your job description.
My job is the same as the other council members. I was elected by my district. Really, in my view, and it may be different than the others, we would serve like a board of directors would. We're part-time. It's not a full-time job. It's not meant to be a full-time job. The mayor is responsible for running the operations of the city. As council president, I would operate like a board chair. I operate the meeting, put the agenda together or help with city staff. They put it together and I approve it. So,
The general description for our council is to legislate laws. Mayor, general description is to oversee the police department and all that is in your jurisdiction. My suggestion to you today is stop rocket sciencing the Steve Perkins family. And what I mean by rocket sciencing, and that is that you are saying that this issue is too difficult to understand and something that you cannot do. But this is not rocket science. Justice for Steve Perkins' family is not rocket science. We all understand it, and we all know what you can do. So my suggestion to you is stop going back, getting old laws, trying to rationalize how not to be honest with this family. This family is looking for justice for the Perkins family, and it's not hard to understand. This equation is very simple. Accountability. Accountability, somebody else might want to say. You got to be upfront with the people here. Show the body cam. Show the body cam. Let me say this. You only give me 3 minutes, but I got a lot that I can say, and I'll be brief.
yes, sir.
If my son took my car and I woke up the next morning and I found a dent in it, and I asked him, how did that dent get in my car? If it takes him 20 minutes trying to tell me how that dent got in my car. He's either lying to me or trying to hide something from me. When they ask you to do your job, if it's taking you all this time to show the body cam, it's either that you are that's what they believe. That's what they believe. So I want to say to you that we need to be upfront.
Thank you, Mr.
Now, I wrote down some stuff while we was having this meeting, and that is that the equation is very simple. Accountability and transparency, that's what they're looking for. And I'm gonna say this on my way to my seat, because there's one other thing that I know that has reverberated throughout this city of Decatur, and that is a statement that the lawyer made when he said that in order for Steve Perkins to get justice in this city, then something would have to be burned down. You may not like me when I say this, but I agree with him. And I'm not talking about burning down a building. That's right. And I'm not talking about turning over cars and burning up cars of businesses. Injustice needs to be burned down. Laws that keep you from being honest and just to this Perkins family need to be burned down.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin.
And I want to say this. Okay, I want to say this. I want to say this because everybody know who I am in here. Most of you do. I want you as a council, I know you have a city council, you have a mayor council, but you have another council, and that's a privy council. That's a private council. I suggest that you go to that private council that consists of dignitaries and high officials in this city and tell them to read the 133rd Psalm, which is said, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together. If you stand for justice on the principles of justice and righteousness, we can walk out of this place and hum it today.
Thank you.
Hey, just for a reminder, I think we covered this last week, but to tell where we are, there, and you've heard it, that Leah is conducting an investigation, and that's really a criminal investigation, and they have possession of all the evidence right now. We don't have, as a city, possession of the evidence. Once that's done, once they've done their interviews, they can send that information to the city, and then the city will be looking not at the criminal side of things, because once the Leah completes their investigation, that portion of it will actually go to the district attorney, Scott Anderson at the Morgan County Courthouse, and then they'll do what the district attorney does with it. Here, we'll be looking at the second phase, and that will be the internal side of things as it relates to policies and things within the city of Decatur. So we don't have that information yet to actually be able to conduct that portion of the investigation. Okay, so that's just the way it works.
Hey, hold on.
We cannot get access to that information, so that's what you want. There's nothing that you can do to be coming up here and saying that's going to change that.
Hold on, guys. We want to allow everybody to speak, and we're listening, and we're responding where we can. And we have to give, if the mayor wants to respond to comments addressed to him, we got to be respectful of that. So I'm trying to accommodate. We're trying to stick to 3 minutes, all those things, but let's just. All right.
We certainly won't deny peaceful protests, things of that nature, and such. And that's what I think. Chief, did I cover it as the facts? Thank you.
Cornelius Eccles.
name Cornelius Eccles. How y'all guys doing?
Been better.
I was gonna start off saying something, but I'm gonna start off saying about what you were just speaking about Aaliyah having the information. Did you talk to the DA about the partial video that he can file a motion for and, you know what I'm saying, file for to get a partial video to the family?
I haven't talked to the district attorney.
But
no,
you
sir.
know he can't do that though, right?
Have you talked with him?
Say that again.
Have you talked with him?
No, I haven't.
Okay, he works for you.
I know, but you have,
Okay.
but you're his boss though. So.
Yes, sir. He's not gonna give us any information. We know that.
But I was always taught by my grandmother, how you know an answer to a question if you don't ask.
Okay, I've answered your question.
I'm talking about the answer to the question for Scott Anderson if you don't ask, sir. How do you know the answer to his question? Knowing his legal right, his legal obligation, he can give partial of the video from Aaliyah, a request from Aaliyah to give that to them. Have you asked him that? That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I have not, but I would need to refer that to our legal team if they know something I don't know as it relates to an answer.
And hey, Mr. Eccles, I'm gonna stop your time real quick. Can everybody check their phone? There's a noise.
This mine.
All right.
Walk-up song. I guess I'll start back. We're all equal, right? No matter what your position you play in law, no matter what duties you have, when it comes to breaking the law, everybody is considered on the same level, correct? All right, just making sure. I guess my next question is for the chief. I guess isn't it protocol when an officer gets involved with a shooting? I'm pretty sure you're probably aware with that. They automatically go on administrative leave, correct? Is that correct?
Can you just ask the questions and then I will get the chief to.
Is it protocol that when an officer gets involved with a shooting that they're automatically put on administrative leave until the investigation is complete?
And after you finish, I'll address that question. If you have other questions.
Oh, you're gonna after I finish yours?
Yeah, because we can't just do Q&A with.
Gotcha. That's fine. I also did some research and seen that you guys are funding the police department $28 million. Is that true?
That's not correct. That is all public safety, which includes our fire department as well. Okay. So there's a number in there, almost all of that. Well, if y'all paid attention to the budget, you know, I've talked about personnel cost a lot, well, for 30 minutes maybe.
Okay.
And a lot of that's personnel, but 28 million you're referencing actually is fire department and police department combined. That's public safety. Yes, sir.
All right. I guess my next one is, you know, I kind of like the Constitution, so I'm going to stay there.
I appreciated that last week.
And I also appreciate you letting us preach for protest, even though in the beginning you did. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you not infringing on our rights this past week. Well, since that day of the meeting, I appreciate that, and I'm pretty sure everyone does as well. I also did some things in the Constitution. It's like 1401, 1958. No state legislature or executive or judicial officer can war against the Constitution without violating their undertaking to support it. So I'm telling the community this: if they didn't know it, like if we don't like what you guys are doing, like he was saying the other, we can vote you guys, every last one of you guys out there, seat before election. So keep that in mind. I mean, every last one of you who start a petition, we'll go from there. I just found out when I was studying last night that the sheriff is over. The sheriff is over you guys. So I'm just saying, for instance, like if we don't like the outcome of this situation, you know what I mean, we can get with the city. I guess I let them know the information I got, and we can vote you guys out that seat before election.
Yeah, so let me address that question, and Herman, you can jump in. I got that question a lot this week about impeachment process and that type of thing. The council does not have any power. There's some language in the Alabama code that talks about appointed officials, not elected, where there is some process to remove them. From what I understand, the only way to remove, there also was changed fairly recently in Alabama code, this is not something the city changed, that a recall election was basically done away with. Now, if you have issues with that, I understand that. It seems like there should be a mechanism. That is a state legislature that made that change at some point in the fairly recent history. There is no mechanism for recall. We can't vote 3-2 to impeach. They can't vote 3-2 to impeach me. We can't vote 3-2 to impeach the mayor. There is no process like that. It has to actually be a criminal complaint, I believe, that would go through circuit court.
Okay, well, I was
And
referring
Herman,
to.
correct anything I said that is incorrect.
We're getting way off, let me share, okay?
I'm trying to
We're on
answer.
the same subject, sir.
All right, the only way you can remove an official, basically, is through impeachment. There is no provision for a recount vote. We only have the authority which the state legislature grants us. And they have not granted the citizens nor the council or the mayor the authority to have a recount vote, okay?
Okay, what's your name, sir?
My name is Herman Marks.
Herman Marshall. I'm referring to section 1144E-201. Us as the public
Well,
can
first of all,
file. Why are you interrupting me, sir?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Section 1144E-201 gives us as the people a right to start a petition. If we don't like our local government, is to vote every last one of you guys out. So I don't understand what you're saying, sir.
All right, Mr. President, I'm not trying to get into debate.
No, it's not a debate.
I'm curious in the answer.
Well,
So
let me-
if you wanna-
the
I am
answer-
too.
The answer is, in 11-44E does not apply to the city of Decatur. That is an entirely different.
What's it
government.
apply to?
Huh?
What's it apply to?
I don't know exactly. No, let me do it this way, okay? We are under a different code section as relates to that. 1144E does not apply to the city of Decatur. It applies to some other form of government. I can go upstairs and look and see which one, but it doesn't apply to the city of Decatur. Because we have a mayor council form of government.
Yeah, and if if I can revert back to what I was saying the other week, federal law trumps everything. So I don't know if the state law trumps. I don't know what he's initiating. But that's all I'm saying. Just to keep that guys in mind that if the things don't go as well as that we planned, then I'm pretty sure the city will start a petition. So you know what I mean, to get us a new local government.
That's perfectly fine, and whatever laws are in place to allow that. Of course, federal, state, and local would come into play. I got that question a lot, so I did reach out to the municipal law experts in Montgomery and ask what that method would be, and the answer I got was it would go through circuit court and not petition.
And this is my last thing. We got up together before we did this thing, before we started this meeting. We all prayed, right? It just seemed as though it's not the same. The level of love, and like we represent two different gods or something, or like your prayer means more than anybody else. Because I asked you a simple question. You told us that, Mayor, about the LIA, but I know and other people know it's a section in the law that says that the DA can release partial to the family. And all you have to do is ask me, but you just went around the question. That's all I'm saying. But everybody's not slow.
Sir, I don't think he has the information to be able to release anything.
No, sir. He as the DA, sir, can file a motion for partial of that video and talk to Aaliyah and get partial of that video sent to the family. It don't have to go out to the public, to the family. This is documented in the law.
Thank you. And Herman, did you want to respond to?
All I was gonna say, we will that's legitimate.
Yeah, you looking it up now.
We will reach out to the district attorney, okay?
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
And just to be clear, the district attorney is an elected position that operates at the courthouse, not under city authority. So, the question about sharing police shootings, is it automatic administrative leave? I don't know the answer to that. Is that something?
I'd have to defer. So anytime that someone is put on administrative leave, that comes from a director who in this case would be Chief Pinion, discussing the matter with Human Resources and our legal department. And collectively, they come up with a recommendation to the office of the mayor. And from there, would typically approve the recommendation that the three have put together. And in this case, it was administrative leave.
All right, Cherie had.
I'll start with where you just left off about the process for recommending administrative leave. Is there a recommendation already in motion to place the other three officers who were on scene and a part of that ambush on administrative leave?
Mr. President, I don't mean to interrupt, but that is matters that are subject to investigation and review by several different entities, and the answer to that's a personnel matter, and I think we've answered that before, but I think those are good questions, but I don't know that, the gentleman that talked about defending rights in the military, it has the same application here.
You can ask any question.
It was also personnel. It was also a personnel matter when you released a statement and told us that the first individual was placed on administrative leave. So I'm not understanding why now we cannot know whether or not there are other individuals who have been placed on.
And I don't know the answer to that either. I've been, and I hate.
Chief
I think
Pinion,
somebody.
have you made a recommendation for any of the other officers to be placed on administrative leave?
If you can just address the questions to us, and then we can address those questions. I think the gentleman, Mr. Franklin, spoke, and I hate giving the answer, I don't know, and I have the same questions you do, and I've been given that for 3 weeks. I don't know the answer to your question. I wish I could answer it, but I don't know because it is a personnel matter. It doesn't even come to the council right now.
Mr. Pepper, when we talked earlier this week, I asked you that same question, and you said you would look into that. Have you done so?
I haven't had an opportunity. As a matter of fact, I recently had a family member pass away, so I have not been operating for the city at all. But I was actually just about to ask the question since you brought it up, and I don't think that that's a question for the chief. I think that's a question for the mayor. As the mayor has said multiple times, he is in charge of day-to-day operations of the city and oversight of each department and its employees. So I'm going to defer that question to the mayor. Is there a plan set in place to could you repeat the question one more time? Sorry.
To place the other 3 officers who were a part of the ambush on administrative leave.
I think those would be things that would be happening, as Herman said, in an internal thing that, again, the council is not even involved in. So
I'm not 100% if he can answer the question. Like I said, I don't know if the personnel specific laws or specific rules that condone those certain things. Again, that's why I deferred the question to the mayor.
Can we ask when in the statement that Chief Pinion released on the other day, on Wednesday, said there was an investigation that was being launched into that? When was that investigation started?
We'll answer these at the end of if you'll go on with your 3 minutes, then we'll answer.
Okay. I would like to know when the investigation was started. Is there any plans to place the other 3 individuals on administrative leave? And those are questions that, even if it's not your position to take, you should be able to, you should know these things. There should be a process that you all are asking questions about that should be able to get those answers.
Can I ask you a follow-up question real quick? You said when the investigation was started, I'm assuming you mean the investigation into the other 3 officers?
Yes.
Or, okay, all right, I just wanted to clarify that just in case.
I can assure you I've asked a lot of questions in the last 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks, and there are some things, I know you say we should know. Personnel matters and investigations into personnel matters are just not things that the council is privy to until it comes to us, whether it's appeal or something like that would come on an agenda. It's just not.
And so has anything been presented to you all?
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so we're gonna take that as no.
That's right.
Okay. I'm curious as to why we have to wait on Aaliyah to investigate things that are clearly policy and procedural matters that were not done properly. Aaliyah's job is to investigate whether or not, at the moment that officer pulled his trigger, whether he was justified and felt he was in danger of his life when he pulled that trigger. That is what Aaliyah is investigating. That is what they're going to come back and tell us yay or nay on. Everything that happened prior to the moment, the second that trigger was pulled, that's policy, that's procedure, that is a part of what the Decatur Police Department is supposed to or not supposed to do. That is where you all are responsible for making judgments and assessments on it. And the very same Facebook page that you all put out this lie on my cousin about when the morning that he was shot, you can use to look at the videos that are out there, that is evidence that is out there, that is accessible to you to be able to make those decisions, and at least to do more than what you're doing. My issue is, it took you 13 days to come up with what we already knew. What we all knew already, that we saw these videos. You had videos with audio that told you what they said was a lie. But you all allowed it to stand for 13 days to disparage his character and to make it appear that he was some aggressive person, that he was some predator of some nature, when you knew it was a lie. They too, we knew this. And you allowed it to stand so that you could taint the public's opinion about him. And the press could run with this story for days, for weeks, saying that he refused and he did these things when you knew day one. Had you all taken the opportunity in your haste to put out this information, if you had taken the opportunity, if you were just as hasty to have notified his wife that her husband was in her front yard, you told her nothing. I left Huntsville Hospital with my aunt, knowing nothing about what happened to her son. We get home, we're still trying to figure out what happened to her son. I had to read it on a Facebook post from Decatur Police Department, what you alleged happened to her son. And we had no answers, no clue. No one from the police department even called and said an incident took place at your home. If it were not for Justin, and on so many levels, who released the video, but also calling family members saying, hey, something happened at your home. You cannot tell me that you cannot review policy, protocols, and procedures that you all say you put in place and make a decision based on whether or not those officers still need to be patrolling this very street that they killed him on.
Thank you,
That is not appropriate. It does not take 13 days. It does not take 15. It takes none of that.
Thank you.
If this were a citizen situation, you would have taken those same videos that are on Facebook and made recommendations and done anything else if it was the other way around.
Thank you, Ms.
So
Evans.
I just want it to be known. There are concerns about the way this was handled from the very beginning.
Thank you.
And there's opportunity to do it correctly. And that is all that we're asking you to do.
Brianna, yes, sir.
And I got something after.
Let me do briefly. I want to respond to Mr. Echols.
Well, can I say something first?
Sure.
We want him to respond, right? Okay.
All right, the answer is, as I shared, 11-44 deals with a commission form of government. We do not have a commission form of government. There's so many, there's 25 volumes of the state law.
So commission form of government would be with a
Commission.
county commission would be part of that?
It would be commissioners rather than council members.
All right, thank you.
And I got one thing.
Anything you want to answer, that's fine, but I didn't know that right off the bat. I just knew that we weren't subject to it.
Hey, great questions. And again, this is just me personally. I think one of the questions, I've talked to some of you in this room out front before about other officers on the scene. I think the common question I got was, are those officers out in the streets right now? I don't know if we can answer that. My personal opinion is we should be able to answer that. So that people know.
The chief answered that in the last meeting. The answer to that is, to the best of my knowledge, they are not on the street. They are not on the street.
All right, Brianna Watkins next.
Hey, some of you guys know my face and know who I am, but my name is Brianna Watkins, and just briefly, I'm going to highlight on AL Code 7-9A-609. Which includes a statute does not authorize law enforcement to assist in repossessions without judicial, that is a court order. And records show, as we all are aware, that no order was given to the police for assistance in the early hours of Friday, September 9th. With this vague information that multiple officers that are still employed by our city, not only did they not abide by this code spoken above, but because of this, it resulted in a death. Listen, I'm an ER nurse. And if I were to cause a wrongful death by not following, a wrongful death of a patient, by not following the standards of practice, not only would I be terminated, I would probably be arrested, but Alabama, the state, would pull my license that I worked so hard for. So my question to Scott Anderson, who is not here, he just got back from vacation, Todd Pinion and Councilman, this is not for Aaliyah. This is not for Aaliyah. An image is being portrayed in our city that officers are above the law. Why is it that all of these officers has not been fired and arrested for breaking the code that I mentioned above? There is someone who I know that we all know of who is so passionate about justice and equality, who has spent 10 days across the street in jail for walking on a street. And not only himself, but other protesters were purposely taunted and agitated for a reaction by one of your off-duty police officers in his personal vehicle with his personal dash cam to get a reaction, and it worked. He has been given 15 total days in jail. When an officer in our city is on paid leave for murdering a citizen, and the other two apparently agreed with breaking the code that night. This is going on week 3, and we know 2 things. One, the initial statement released was very inaccurate, and videos released have proven that. So my question is, why are the police officers that were involved in this above the law for breaking the law? Why, me as a nurse, I would have to abide by the law, and everybody out here who is employed, if they didn't abide by their jobs, and did something as of this stature, they would be arrested and terminated. But they're on paid leave for murdering and for assisting in a murder. Why is it that our police department is being portrayed as being above the law?
My response to your points, and you're right in a lot of ways about breaking procedure and your job, all of our jobs. If we break procedure and there's something bad that happens, I would be fired, right? So the way I would answer that is, if there were multiple, and again, I said it last week, I haven't seen everything. None of us have, that I know of. I haven't. I've seen what you've seen. And I made a comment about that last week that I didn't think that was right. What I would say is, if there were multiple, this is my personal opinion, not the opinion of the whole council. This is as a citizen. If there are multiple infractions when it comes to policy and procedure, that should be the result, termination. So that's what I would say to that. Michael Stovall.
Well, today I did not want to address Tab Holden, but it seems like y'all have changed the forum or the way that we were doing things, because at first we could ask them questions, but now y'all came in and threw a monkey wrench because you're trying to control the narrative of us asking questions, and I don't like that. And like with you, it seems like to me like you're trying to help cover up something. I did like you at first, but it's like you, and I understand your position is to control the meetings, but you need to allow them to be able to speak. And for some reason, it's like he on the gag order or something. I don't know, like he on mute, because y'all want to allow him to speak. Because I understand, because we're gonna be professional. Everybody out here is professional. We're not coming to personally attack him. We're attacking his performance as the chief of police. Now, I will go here, and I'm gonna say this, and since I can't ask him any questions, I guess I'm gonna have to go back to Tab, because I was trying to stay away from Tab today. But do the police department have a community relations board? Yes or no?
Just get all your questions out and then we'll...
No, I'm saying, but...
You're not, the tail's not wagging the dog. Get all the questions out and then we'll come back and answer them.
Wow. Okay, so Tab, this is really showing your character. So what I would, if I were you and the chief, I would go ahead and resign, because how can you lead a people who don't want you to lead people? I mean, go ahead and resign. But I will say this, because you heard about what I said, Tab, but this is my only question. Do you have, well, not my only question, so you can write this down. Do you have a community relations board? When was the last time you all met? And who's all on that board? And can we get minutes from that last board? And one thing I want all of you all to remember, hold on, I'm thinking about coming out to your seat, buddy. But one thing I want all of you all to remember, our leaders in the community are not the ones that you all think of our leaders in the community. Don't just randomly go out here and just say, well, this right here is gonna be our leader and this the person, because y'all can use them or motivate them to be in the way that you want them to be in. No, those are not our leaders. We have leaders in our community, and I would encourage each one of you to come out to our community and learn our leaders. And the thing is, we're not just only in District 1. We in every district around, you know, because that's where y'all spreaded us in the 90s. So we're in every district around, so get to know us, and learn the leaders, because we are young professionals. And I didn't come to attack Mayor Tabone, and I think I did enough of that last week. I come to get those answers, though. I need those before we leave.
Thank you. And I'll say a couple things. I actually started the meeting last week by saying it would not be a Q&A with the people sitting in the audience. If you were here last week, I did say that at the beginning last week as well. The other is, no answer I ever give is for anybody to like me or dislike me. I'm giving you the answer, and it's coming from what I think and what I believe. And if you don't like me, that's fine. If you like me, that's fine too. All right, we'll move to Darnell Shackelford.
Well, I told him I was
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, Chief, I think we call it something other than a community relations board. Is it a public advisory board?
Citizens Advisory.
Citizens Advisory Board. Harmon should making those names known. Any harm in that, or any value?
We can make it available outside of this meeting.
Outside of this meeting?
But that's right, we'll provide him, we'll provide.
I already spoke with him, told him I'd provide all that after the meeting.
Okay.
All that information.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Shackelford.
Well, my name is Darnell Shackelford, and my question have been asked by the young lady and everybody that got up on the podium, what I need to know. But one thing I want to say that how come nobody never mentioned the tow truck driver? You know, the one that initiated all of this and everything, and why the chief of police having come to the protesters and asked the protesters, gave the protesters some statements about what's going on with his investigation, and why, Ted, that you haven't, you know, affronted the protesters too. You know, every murder I done seen on TV that done happened by cops or whatever, the mayor come out, the chief of police come out and address everybody, that every protester that, you know, that protested. And I just wonder, why have we heard from the chief of police and the mayor? You know, I mean, it's a case going on up in Huntsville right now, where a black guy killed a white police officer. And now, they ain't have no problem arresting the black guy. They ain't got no problem arresting the black guy. Now they saying on the news that he could get the death penalty. Why? Well, this the same thing. It's just backwards. The police can kill a innocent black man. Why it ain't been nothing said about it, and why our mayor, our chief of police, whoever come out and address the protesters. Like Ella Franklin said, what is y'all hiding? Y'all hiding something? Y'all don't want to show the tape? What is going on with our corrupted police force, or corrupted law enforcement? What's going on? What's going on with our leaders? You know, I was born and raised in Decatur. You know, I try to do the right thing. I played football at Decatur for 4 years. I'm well respected here. I try to do the right thing here. But I see my elected officials They ain't doing nothing. They ain't saying nothing. They just being quiet. Here we got a brother that being murdered by the city police. Ain't nobody saying nothing. What's wrong?
Thank you, Mr.
There's something wrong with that picture.
Thank you, Mr. Sheckford. So, just to be clear, I have publicly addressed questions related to this matter numerous times, even today. It's just that the answers that I provide that are accurate, factual, and all that we have at this time are not well received. That's the best I can say to that. And the same applies to Chief Pinion. As recent as last week, he provided a detailed update related to the matter.
Hold on, Mr. Sheckford, we gotta go in order. You can address questions to us after if you have a specific question. Rodney Gordon is next on the list.
Yes, how y'all doing? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, listen to me. I was coming here to ask when you're gonna make arrests, but I've changed that to why you haven't made an arrest. Okay? First of all, the chief recanted a statement. Well, the statement that he recanted was that the gun, the police officer, he never said gun. He said, get down, get down, get down. He was shooting while he was saying it anyway. But the chief made a statement saying that the guy had a gun and we asked him to put it down and we shot him, which was a lie. Okay, now, you called every station in the world to announce this, and you backed it. The mayor, you backed it. Okay, why you didn't call the same news or press conference to put that lie out? You should have recanted it just like that. Because everybody don't read the newspaper. Everybody don't got social media. Okay? So you should have been got up. That's what the man, when he said, why don't you get in front of the public or get in front of the protest and say, look here, we made a mistake. All right? So you ain't manned up to that yet. Yeah, that's too much like, and also with policy and procedure, I'm quite sure, I'm almost definite that you got a false police report because you wasn't there. So you read what they gave you. And I bet you all three of them wrote the same thing because if me and him were together, all four of them wrote the same thing. And that's why you were so sure when you read it. Now, did you look at the video? Okay. Did you look at the video, Mayor, before you gave it to Leah?
No, well, I'm going to answer your question. I never had possession, but I'm going to answer your questions at the end.
Okay. Did the police chief look at the video before he gave it to Leah? Because if you did, you deliberately lied. And I'm quite sure you saw the film. Everybody here saw the film. Your body cam, you can keep it. I don't need it. We already got the body cam. Now, the cam we need is the conversation between the police and the tow truck driver, because that's where the plot took place. And to file a false police report, isn't that a felony?
You're asking good questions, but the answer is, it's the same answer we've given. There's a process that you follow. People have been talking about for all along. You follow the law, you follow the guidelines.
Okay, but listen to me. These are city questions. These are city that you can implement. Listen to me, y'all. You don't have to be indicted to be arrested. So let's just take Scott Anderson out of this. Why haven't you arrested those guys? Why haven't y'all arrested those guys, man? Those guys should be arrested. They everybody, even the fork truck driver. What's the truck? How did you allow, being a police officer, how did you allow them to move that truck from the crime scene?
Rodney, hey, I know you came in a little late. We gotta try to keep it.
Okay.
And I've said this every week. I want to know all those answers.
Okay.
I do not know them. If I knew them, I'd tell you. I'm just telling you. Everything I know, you know. It's the truth. You don't have to believe me. It's what I'm telling you. And that's all I can do is tell you the truth that I know, and it's right here, and I'm telling you. I do not know those. I want to know every one of them. So I appreciate the questions.
Okay.
I've had those questions too.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you with this. When we begin this thing, y'all pray. Y'all pray.
Yes, sir.
Who you praying to? Y'all went to church yesterday and worship God, and you come here and work for the devil. And then you said, you stood for liberty and justice for all. Really, man?
Yes.
So,
People can ask questions. We're going to listen to the questions. All right, Tommy Cook.
Good afternoon, everyone. A lot of questions have been answered or asked or whatnot, those questions that I was going to ask, but I want to talk a little bit about legacy. A couple of days ago, we shut down the bridge to bring a house from Athens here of a judge back over 70-some years ago that stood against the grain. That's right. And during that time, that judge wasn't liked amongst his peers. Judge Breland, you know, I was talking to Judge Breland one time. He gave me a history lesson about that judge. He said, Tommy, that guy wasn't liked. He was ridiculed. And years ago, he was hated, ran out of town because he stood against the grain. And today we honor him. Why? Because he stood against the grain. That's right, my question to y'all is, what's going to be y'all legacy? What's going to be your legacy, Tab? What's going to be yours? You're going to be remembered as the mayor who did not stand for the people that voted him into office. That's what's going to be your legacy. We got to take a stand. We don't have to wait on Aaliyah. Aaliyah only give us what a camera view of the officer. But every one of those neighbors, the police did not take an account for the neighbor's camera. And that's the true evidence. That's the unedited evidence. That's the untampered with evidence. The neighbor's camera. You can take that evidence and convict all alone. You ain't got to wait on Aaliyah. You don't have to wait on Aaliyah. So my question to y'all, are y'all going to have a legacy that where y'all stand for the community that y'all serve? Or are you going to stand for wrong? Because as the young man said there, Decatur has to do it right. We got to get it right. Not only about windows, not only about right-of-ways, cutting out the weeds. We got to get this right. And if it comes to where we got to remove our chief of police, or we got to vote out our mayor, or we have to run against our councilmen, that's what we will do. Because the protests, if you would look at it, it started out with 25, but it has grown every day. You have awakened a sleeping giant. That's what you have done, sir. And if you don't get it right, we're going to make sure that we'll get somebody in your spot that will get it right. Thank you.
So my legacy is yet to be determined. And really, that's what we're continue to repeat. And I'm sorry to be repetitive, but it's you can't you can pass judgment on me once we receive all the information, and then I start making decisions. But right now, I do not have enough information to make decisions. Plain and simple.
All right, Tira Bolden.
So you might end up having a different thought towards Tab, and know that I'm full of forgiveness. All right.
It's almost afternoon now. We've been here since, what, 10? A little bit before 10.
A lot of questions that I wanted to ask, most of the residents have already asked, and we still are not getting anything from you all. We are a small community. Most of the people in this room were born and raised here. Unlike big cities where people migrate, most of us are here. If you did a hands up who was born and raised here, it'd be half the room. Our children are seeing this. We have to work at night. We have to leave home with our teenager children and my husband at home with my grandchild. I'm not working right now because of this. I'm scared to leave my home with my black males at home and my granddaughter at home. Unlike Steve, I don't have my neighbors' numbers. So if something happens to them, I am not going to know. You know why? Because no one called her. So I wouldn't even know unless I see it on the news or Facebook that I have a problem with. That should have been on the news every time information was given, not on Facebook. This is huge. This is bigger than everybody up here on this panel. Why every time we're coming to these meetings, you guys are giving us nothing? And I know you're limited, but give us something, some kind of care, something that you care a little bit. Not every answer, let us get information, let us get information. We are traumatized as a city. Not just a family, the city is traumatized. We need some dates that you guys can get some information and give us something so we can sleep at night again. We're not sleeping at night. This is rough on everyone, not just you all. I know you have to make some tough decisions and have some tough conversations, but they need to be had immediately, expeditiously, and right now, like now. And I know you cannot give us information that is tied up. It's easier to, walk away from it when it's tied up. But it's some loops y'all can do to make us be able to sleep at night. Please, I'm begging at this point.
Thank you, and I would respond to that by saying, in my opinion, it would be much easier to give you all the answers to your questions.
And I know you can't.
Yeah, so it's harder for me to sit here and say I can't because I don't know. I would rather tell you the answer.
Can we get some timelines? Can we get some dates maybe that we can get gather some information and have a press conference on because most of the time that's how it goes. I know that you're limited, but can you update us more than us coming to these meetings?
Yeah.
I mean, because we're not getting any updates here,
We're walking the hurts, the disappointments, the things that are going on in our city as a result of what's taking place is bothering everyone up here to some degree as much as it's bothering you. Now, we're not going to get into trying to match up, but we want an end to this, as you know we do.
I do.
All right, thank you.
I do. I know y'all want to end to it, but the longer that it takes to get some sort of soothing, like you give a baby a bottle when it cries.
Yes, ma'am.
That baby is not going to stop crying until you give it its bottle.
What I would tell you is, this was in the paper, so I think y'all probably read it, but we had our state legislators ask us, or ask me personally, I think some of the others, what can we do? And the answer was hurry up the investigation as fast as you can, which doesn't give you a date. I know it doesn't. I want a date too, but
let me ask you this. Do you all know if this is priority in the state of Alabama right now?
that was what our message was to the state, was this has got to be top priority.
Okay. I like that
but they-
you guys did say that, if that's what
We
was
did, and
said.
you can ask Senator Orr and Representative Collins, that's who I talked to, and that was
Okay.
my exact message.
Okay,
But they get,
okay.
they get that from other municipalities as well.
I mean, because I know, like I said, this is hard for everyone, and I know with everything being tied up, it's hard for you all to answer questions, but at least just let us know what have you done to address this so that we can get
And I
answers.
think we are pushing, because the thing is, you know, you're sitting here asking us for answers and we're saying we don't know.
Right, and that's why I didn't get up
fosters-
here and ask for answers.
and
I want to know some
you know,
timelines
that-
possibly.
That fosters a distrust.
Right, it does.
And we're trying to push.
It
as far
does.
as
It has put a hold on a lot of people's lives right now, so we need some sort of immediate plans, actions, results, something immediate if possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Margaret Preston, okay, you do want to talk, I wasn't sure.
Yes, the mayor should reach out as a representative of the citizens of Decatur who elected him. Mayor, have you reached out to the DA and Aaliyah and asked to let the family view the body cams?
Is that your last question, ma'am, or are you
That's
done?
it.
Okay, I've already answered that question. That we will end up, our legal attorney, or our city attorney said that we would reach out to the DA, and I don't have a method for communicating with Aaliyah. That is done through our police chief.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Preston. That's everyone signed in to speak. Anything else from anybody here? Mayor?
No, sir.
Anything else from council? All right, we will stand adjourned. Thank you.